Buenas tardes a todos, bienvenidos. Les quiero dar la bienvenida a nombre de Tribuna Israelita de Mount Sinai a este evento. So first, I would like to thank some people that were responsible for putting this event together. So I want to thank Deborah. I want to thank Daniel Schneeweiss and Vicky Gichik from Catalyst for helping organizing the event also. I want to thank the people from FEMEG, Jake Cohen and Galit Laniado also for helping us organizing it. I want to thank Pepe Profeta from the staff from Punto CDI. And finally, I want to thank all the team from Tribuna Israelita, René Dayan, Eduardo Bisu, Sharon Natri, Rosia Chara, Carla Berman, and Alicia Saga, that were the ones that came out with the idea of doing this event. I would like to thank our guests today, Nuseir and Aija, for being so open to having this meeting with the boys and girls and young people from the Jewish community. We really appreciate you being here today and taking the time to have a time to speak with us. Thank you very much. And my last sentence, I wanted to leave it to the end, and it's to all of you. So thank you very much to everybody for showing up today, because you're teaching us, the people who run the community, a very important lesson. I think it's very important for all the Jewish people in Israel and everywhere in the world to find ways of learning what's happening, on understanding the situation, and understanding that right now it's a time that we have to stand tall and we have to stand proud, and we have to be proud of being Jewish, and understanding that the best way of fighting everything that's going on is by standing together as one. And we have to understand that we are the ones responsible, especially you, the young people, for what's going to happen in the future. And I am very hopeful that if we do the right things, this anti-Semitism, we're going to find a true way of fighting it. So thank you very much for being here. And I know you didn't come to hear me, so let's give it to the ones you want to hear.
Thank you, Mauricio. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Chag Sameach. To those of you who are fasting, Tzom Kal, que tengan buen ayuno. The conversation will all be in English. And thank you so much, Aija and Nuseir, for being here. I'm Deborah Apeloig. I'm the founder of Tikun Talks, with the mission, the Tikun, to repair the world one conversation at a time. So it all starts with talking and dialogue. And I have a whole guide, structure, everything, and Nuseir told me, just get rid of it. Let's be more organic. Controversial, right. So Nuseir and Aija are here visiting, and they want to get to know the Mexican Jewish community.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Before we do any event, we like to know, who are we speaking to? So if you can just do us a favor, raise your hand, tell us, who are you, what do you do, and why are you here? And scream. Who wants to go?
Hi, my name is Linda. I'm from Mexico City. I live in Cuernavaca. And I was very excited to come because I've been following you for a while now. I love your videos. And I hosted my community in SIO.
Cool.
Before anybody else was talking about it, so I'm like, yay!
You're all the way from Cuerna?
Yeah,
Wow.
How far is it?
1 hour, 2 hours?
it's fine. It's like traffic from here to downtown. Basically, I came to...
Got it. To listen, to see what's up. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Boy, girl, boy, girl. Come on, let's go. Stand up, scream.
My name is Aija. I was born in Israel and raised in Mexico City. I work for an Israeli startup. I've been following you guys for a while. I guess what I want to hear more and try to understand is how the world is divided right now. And I remember your post 2 years ago saying, I used to be a Palestinian Israeli, and I'm an Israeli Palestinian. And I would like to dive deeper into understanding that change and seeing how that can help other people and connect with us, in today's world.
Amazing. Thank you.
I'm super excited to have you here. And the first time I heard about first NAS and then Aija was in an interview post-October 7th, where you said something that to this day, like, is very important to me. You said that when there's 100 Jews in a room, there's 200 opinions, but that when there's 100 Arabs in a room, there's usually one opinion because there's so much repression. And I thought about, like, you had nothing to gain out of this, right? You don't get funded by the Israeli government or AJC or whatever. You had a super huge business. I'm sure you get a lot of hate. And I think here we have a lot of public people that have public personas that sometimes, like, when you get that hate when you stand up for Israel or for the Jewish community, sometimes people are like, I'd rather like stay on the margins. So I want you to inspire us all on how to do it correct and come out and just like use our platforms for whatever is our cause.
How do you feel about being in Mexico? Aija, you went to Festival Aviv just last night. Tell us your impressions. How did you feel when you saw that auditorium with 5,000 people? What are your first impressions of this community?
So I grew up in New York, where we have a lot of like professional dance performances and Broadway. And we were talking last night that what I saw at Festival Aviv genuinely was better than any dance show I've seen in New York City.
Raise your hand if you were yesterday at the finals in Festival Aviv. Raise your hand if you danced. Wow. Okay. All right. And you were also amazed that they were all, most of them, school children, like teenagers. And the level of professionalism and technical dancing was like beyond.
Incredible. And I mean, so Nuseir and I both came to Mexico City for different reasons. So you're here for Nazio, and I came here to do the Jews of Mexico videos. And so I have a lot of questions for all of you, and if anyone wants to be in those videos, please talk to me after. But I really feel like I saw a beginning to what this community is like last night, because like just the diversity and the talent, it was amazing to get into this trip.
Thank you so much for that. So you guys keep getting to know the Jewish Mexican community. Can we see a raise of hands of how many people are here that are also Israelis, Mexican Israelis? Okay.
Not a lot.
Only Israelis? Okay. Hey, Ori.
So am I the only Israeli here?
You and Ori.
Where's Ari? Shalom, shalom.
How many of you have been to Israel at least once? Okay. How many of you define yourself as proud Zionists? Okay. How many of you have been to Israel in the last 3 years after October 7th?
We need to start a hotel in Israel.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot.
But how many of them post that on social media, that they're proud Zionists?
That's pretty good, actually.
How many of you are afraid to say the word "I am a Zionist" in social media? Okay. Have you ever said "I am a Zionist"? Have you used that word directly?
It's funny, I haven't yet, actually.
Yeah. Well, would you feel comfortable?
I definitely am, because I know what the word means. And I think the world has stolen the meaning of a few words and made them bad, right? And it's like, if you give in to this world, then you say, oh, this word is bad because the world thinks it's bad. But if you actually know what this word means, you're not that ashamed of it as much. So do I believe in the right of Israel to exist? Absolutely. But I do want to say that something about the Arab Israelis in Israel, we are like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like many of us are like 2 feet out. I do not want to be part of this country. This is not my country. I belong to Palestine and I wish to long for these days. And some of us are 2 feet in, saying, I am no longer Palestinian. I am Israeli and this is my country and I'm going to serve in IDF. And there's a lot of Arab, Muslim, Jews, Christian that do that. I would say me and my family, we were 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I think after October 7th, I became 2 feet in.
But I want to just add to that, Nuseir was the first Palestinian I had ever met. And one thing that
And the last.
I hope not the last.
Hey, what?
No, but one thing that I learned from talking to people in your community, maybe not your family, but in your community, is that back to this idea that people don't know what the word Zionism means. I think a lot of your community has no idea what it means. And so there is a belief amongst, I think, a lot of people that the word Zionism means that no Arabs can live in the land. And I think even within Arab Israelis, that still exists.
Right. So it's a word that needs to be used more by non-Jews and for good.
Absolutely. But you know,
How can we help you to make it more
that's
strongly?
my goal. I want more Arabs to
say,
identify
"I'm an
with the
Arab
idea.
Zionist."
Yeah, to identify with the idea of Israel because it's a great idea. I have been to more than 100 countries. I've been to North Korea, I've been to South Korea, I've been to Papua New Guinea, and I've been to Switzerland. I've seen the world. And I'm telling you, Israel is a good idea. And it's 60% good execution. Okay? I'm interested in making that 60% 80%. I'm not interested in making that a 0% and erasing that whole identity. So that's kind of where I come from. Like, it's a good idea for the last 75 years, just like the UAE is a good idea. Let's make them excellent ideas. How can we integrate society more? How can we make Arab Israelis feel Israeli? How can we force them to join some sort of community service? You know, it even starts with the national anthem. Not a single Arab I know knows the national anthem. I don't know the national anthem of Israel. And I've never sung it.
Wow.
Never.
But
So-
you speak fluent Hebrew.
I speak fluent Hebrew, but I never had to sing the national anthem.
But there's also another reason, which is that Arabs are not included in the national anthem.
Yeah, it's not ours. Neither is the flag. You know? So everybody here can wave the Mexican flag, no problem, but Arab Israelis cannot. And also cannot really raise the Palestinian flag. That's not my country. You know, we're culturally so different. Anyway, I come here to say I'm a big fan of Israel, and I would like Israel to work for everybody.
Thank you for saying that. And for believing it mostly, not only saying it, but we know it comes from your heart, from your soul, and that takes us to the main question, which is, tell us more about your childhood, how your parents raised you, any teachers or leaders in your community that shaped this very tolerant and loving Palestinian Israeli of Israel?
Yeah, it's all because of my dad. And I realized what the parents say in the car, in the house, really affects the kids. Why are you laughing? And so I've never seen my parents like say anything bad about Jews or Israel. And I've always seen them kind of express some sort of tolerance toward other people. And I think that is where I got that first idea. And then only, but
Are your parents the only ones in your community? We're like genuinely curious because the way we tend to see things, it's the vast majority do not like Jews. So I want to understand, is it like your village, is your community like, or are your parents very different to other families?
So actually, how about you speak to this? Because she's come to my village for a couple of weddings. What's your impression?
The first time that I went to his house, I was shocked because his mom has a crescent, like from Islam, a cross, and a menorah. And all over the house, there are just like religious items from every religion. And I was like, wow, this is a very unique Palestinian Muslim family. And but then the more that I talk to your community, so I don't think that everyone is maybe as open-minded as your family, but I don't think everyone is as extreme as maybe some people think too. I think ultimately, what I've learned from talking to people in your extended family is you can be an Arab Israeli and you can work in Tel Aviv and you can have zero contact with Israeli Jews. And when there is zero contact, even when you're working side by side, and you go back to your village of only Muslims, then of course you start to fear or judge or not like the other. And I think maybe that is more of the overall vibe I get from your village.
Yeah, I think and I felt this my first 18 years growing up in Israel. I felt like I wanted Jewish friends, but I didn't extend my hand and nobody extended their hands back. So we just went like this. And only when I made it to Harvard in America, that's where I met my first Jewish Israeli friend. He extended his hand, and I extended my hand, and now he's one of the first investors in my company in Nuseir. We still talk every day for the last 15 years. No, not every day. Every now and then for the last 15 years. And so I really believe is that we're at a standstill where nobody is willing to extend their hand and say, I want to get to know you better. And I wanted Nas Daily to be that. I'm going to extend my hand to the Jews of the world, and millions extended their hand back at me. So I think there is hunger by the Jewish community globally, right? For like a friend that's Muslim and Arab. That's why they love Emiratis so much. That's why they love Somaliland so much. You know? So do you agree or disagree?
No, I do. I think that you're speaking from the Arab perspective, and then from the Jewish perspective, I think that maybe, I guess it depends on the community you come from. Where I come from, you know, back to the families, but my family never spoke badly about Arabs. But then at the same time, when my parents discovered that we were dating, there is, of course, bias and fear and judgment. And I think ultimately when you meet another human being, no matter where they come from and what their background is, and you see that person's soul and their essence, you cannot hate, like as long as that is a good person. And so I think that extension of the hand, whether it's Jews to Arabs or Arabs to Jews, we just need more of that in every community.
It's completely right. I had never met a Palestinian in my life. I lived in
About
Israel.
the first?
No, like the third. I used to live in Israel. I have a lot of family, cousins all over the map, but I never...
You bought shawarma from them.
Of course I did, but I never get to have a conversation and meet anyone. And until the war started and after October 7th and all of my activism, I got invited to participate in a dialogue program with Palestinians. And of course, you open up your heart, your mind, your soul, your eyes, and things change on your own stereotypes and perceptions.
Yeah, you know, when people say there's an Israel, I say there is no Israel, but not in the radical sense. I say there are 5 Israels. There's not one Israel. There's an Israel for the Orthodox Jews, which is so different from the Israel for the tourist Jewish Mexicans. It's very different from the Israel for the Arab Muslims, and very different from the Israel for the Ethiopian Jews. There are multiple Israels, not one, and we all are separate from each other. My village is 100% not Jewish.
No, that's not true.
99.9.
You met
one
Jew in the village?
No, there's a Jewish woman that is married to a Muslim man in this village, and she's like 60, so it's pretty crazy for the time. And they have like 4 kids.
And they're our best friends growing up.
Well, I didn't know you growing up, but yeah, you're best friends.
My best friends. I love these questions. Thank you.
He asked me to put you guys uncomfortable. So how did you manage those first weeks or months dating, and how is the situation now?
Well, I should say that I think maybe 99% of the fear was in my head. The thing is, the timing was not great. We met 2 weeks before October 7th, and so we started dating right after
Their
October.
first date was October 9th.
Yes. And I was very afraid to tell them, but they knew that we were very good friends, and then ultimately we had dinner all together as my friend, which they very quickly realized we were not friends, and they fell in love with him. And so, you know, I think part of that is my own fear and bias.
My parents love her. They're like, she's Jewish? Great! Like, I think
No, but have the parents of...
they have not
They
met.
have not met. Okay.
No, that's scary.
No,
That's,
they will love each other. The only issue is there's a language barrier.
my parents don't speak English.
Okay.
They speak Hebrew, but her parents don't
do
speak
not
Hebrew.
So you're gonna be interpreters for
Yeah.
life.
We're waiting for a ChatGPT 7.
Honestly, no, we can make this go however we want because we can just translate whatever we want to say.
So speaking of ChatGPT 7 and AI, there's a lot of AI enthusiasts here. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you are not using ChatGPT. Okay. Or any other AI. You two are big enthusiasts of artificial intelligence. It's embedded in your platform, Nuseir. I'm a user. She's a user, and we've
We were
built.
using AI support last night.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were like at 10 p.m. coming out of the Festival Aviv, trying to look at the list, everything going for this, and I was using the chat on WhatsApp. What are, with AI taking over so many job descriptions and technical capabilities, what do you recommend for people here to build their skills? And there's a lot of fear of being replaced by AI. What are your top tips and recommendations to be relevant in an AI-powered future?
So I'll give my answer, you can give your answer. I'll give you some background. When the internet came, I was too young. I was playing Counter-Strike, and I wasn't paying attention to the internet, and I lost the dot-com bubble. I was too young, I was like 10. When crypto came, I was too poor. I remember my friends at college, they were saying, oh, Bitcoin is now $1,000. And my bank account, I had $2,000. So I wasn't going to buy Bitcoin. I was too poor for crypto. But now AI came. And now we are old enough, wise enough, and rich enough to double down on this life-changing technology. So the way I view AI, it's our chance. Everybody here is old enough, wise enough, and from what it looks like, you can afford to buy an AI subscription. And so I view this as, finally, this is my moment. And so I pivoted the whole company to just be in this industry. I had plans to open up 5 hotels around the world and be a hotelier, and Nas House in Dubai, another one in Israel, another one in Mexico. And I was like, scratch that. The hotel industry will be around for the next 1,000 years. AI is the only thing that matters. And so we're content creators. AI could replace our jobs too, but it will not if we know how to use it. So that's kind of how we think about it. It's the only thing I care about. What can we do today that was impossible to do 10 years ago? And I think healthcare will change, entrepreneurship will change. What else? Defense will change, lawmaking will change. I want to focus on entrepreneurship. And that's why Nuseir is now all AI to help people start a business. But other people can build different businesses thanks to AI.
I think I'm of the mentality that when the train has left the station, there's nothing you can do. You just have to go forward and find ways to adapt. We had lunch a few months ago with Yuval Noah Harari, and he said something that I think everyone should probably listen to. He said, if he had kids today, he wouldn't send them to study being a software engineer or being a doctor or anything. He would send them somewhere where they could learn how to have very, very malleable brains. Because the only thing that we'll be able to predict in the future is that we're going to have to change and adapt constantly as AI evolves. And so that's what I hope to do, and I know you do, and maybe it's helpful to other people.
And that's why everybody should study Buddhism. Buddhism, the number one tenet in Buddhism is that everything changes. Everything is impermanent. Our relationship is impermanent. Probably we die. Our time together is impermanent. My relationship with my parents is impermanent. Everything changes. And so, and that just makes you less attached to, oh, I'm a lawyer, I have to do law like this. Just don't be attached to anything.
You're attached to a lot, though.
What am I attached to? My business.
Your business.
You.
Hopefully me. A lot of things.
That's it. What else?
No, your health.
I'm attached to my health. That's correct.
It's very easy to say non-attachment. I think Buddhism is great.
She doesn't like Buddhism.
I don't think that you actually practice it day to day. I see how stressed you get. That means you're not attached. That means you are attached.
That's why Buddhism is an aspiration.
So speaking of detachment and attachment, we can say in an AI-ruled world, we must remain attached to our humanity. That's the one thing that AI can't give you. And the human perspective of things. Like you can ask a robot and he'll help you write beautiful things and do amazing stuff, but they're not human, right?
That's fair.
So are you attached to your humanity?
I have a question for Aija.
Yeah.
How many times did I pivot Nuseir?
How does that have to do with humanity?
No, I'm saying the previous question. I'm Nuseir, I pivoted 20 times.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not attached to one direction.
Okay, and then I have another question for you. How many times are you sad when the numbers are not where you want them to be?
Oh, I'm very attached to the numbers.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm not attached to this.
You're attached to success.
I'm attached to the numbers because they signify. Yes, that is a real problem. But I'm not attached to one manifestation of my company. I'm in love with the problem, not the solution. So for anybody that knows, I've pivoted Nuseir over the last 3 years like 10 times. And I will do it for 10 more until it works. Nas Daily, when I started Nas Daily, I failed in the first 271 videos. And only video number 271 succeeded. So I'm not attached to the solution. I'm just attached to the problem. I gotta fix that problem. Anyway, am I attached to humanity? Probably. I mean, Nas Daily is all of it is videos about people.
Definitely, not probably.
I mean, yes, but you want the truth? Are we all like politically correct? Like the truth is everybody uses humanity, be human, be moral. They use it in a political context.
Right.
How many times did people say, for humanity's sake, we gotta destroy Israel? So people use these words left and right, and I just don't have that connection to these words because they get manipulated very often. Like I talked to somebody today who's like super anti-Israel. And I was like, why are you doing this? He's like, I'm just living an ethical life. I was like, okay, I guess ethics means a political stance. I didn't know I was unethical.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you mean when you say, are you attached to humanity, is not words, but is kind of like the core of who you are and your vision and your values.
Who you are and having the ability to see everyone as equal humans. And that's like the big thing that's happening in this war and in all the narrative war. Right.
Guys, no one here sees everyone as equal. We don't care about the death in Sudan. Like, I'm just trying to be realistic. The truth of the matter is, some humans are more equal than others for every human. And that's the reality of being human, is that you are biased. So unfortunately, what I've realized from touring the world is that some parts of the world don't matter as much as trying to get your attention. 540. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I disagree with you. I think that when you talk about maybe the way that media portrays things, or the way that our kind of like mainstream conversation emphasizes, say, deaths in Israel and in Gaza versus in Sudan, yes, we give more weight to certain things because we have more attachment from personal experience. But I fundamentally believe that if you're a good person and you see someone from Sudan die in front of you, your heart will break the same as if it is any other human being.
Absolutely.
And that is, I believe, what you're saying in terms of like that connection to humanity.
Yes, but you said if you see someone die in front of you, how many people here have seen somebody die in front of them?
No, but if you watch a video as well, like, yes, we all become desensitized, right? The more that we see war, it's really bad, but we become desensitized to killing. But at the core, if you look at another human being suffer and you don't feel for that, then I think you're detached from humanity.
But then everybody here is detached from humanity because the amount of suffering that's happening in the world is massive, but it's not weighing down on our day-to-day life.
Because we're not all seeing it.
Right, but let's say, for example, if a Jewish person dies in Israel, you care more than if somebody dies in Ukraine.
No, I don't see the videos from Ukraine. If I see the video in Ukraine, my heart will break the way that I see it when I see someone in Israel. But I don't see it. Like that, and that is a problem. Why am I not
It's
seeing
all
it?
about the algorithm and what you are telling
And
the
why-
internet to feed you. And that is desensitizing
Yeah.
and making your humanity be more towards one group of people or the other. And
As an Israeli Palestinian, I see this. I see half my friends showcase a lot of humanity towards the Palestinian cause and none towards the Jewish cause. None. And I see a lot of my Jewish friends show a lot of humanity to the Jewish cause and not to the Palestinian cause. So I think because I'm stuck in those two worlds, maybe I have a bit of a not so good opinion of this word humanity because it's a highly selective thing.
so you like the word being a bridge builder.
Yes,
You like
I
builder.
that I like.
Yeah.
That I love. I'm in love with. Being a bridge builder.
Can you explain to the audience the whole bridge builder concept, what being a builder means, and how being a destroyer is manifested in algorithms and content that's actually dividing
So this is
mindsets.
this is a mentality I love and I'm happy to stand with, and it's actually came from Daniel Levitsky, who's Mexican.
part of this
Mexican
community.
Jewish. He's a great friend. We love him. We went to his bat mitzvah as well. He looks at the world not as Jewish, Muslim, Emirati, Saudi, Iranian. He looks at the world as builder, destroyer. Are you a builder? Are you a destroyer? You could be a Muslim Somaliland person, and if you're a builder, we love you. And you could be a Jewish person, but if you're a destroyer, we don't love you. So it's like, who is willing to build bridges and who is excited to destroy them? And that's how I see the world. So when you ask me, like, how did you end up reaching your political conclusions, it's really through that lens. Who wants to build for the next 50 years? Or who's talking about 1948? I think talking about 1948 is a form of destruction because we cannot go back in time.
Just to push back a little bit. I love the builder destroyer kind of framework, and I completely agree with it. That being said, for the first 19 years of your life, maybe for longer, were you a bridge builder?
Until 13, I remember until 13 only. Like, I don't remember before 13.
No, what I'm saying is that I think for most of your life, you were neither. Because you didn't care.
I was playing Counter-Strike.
Exactly. But people at 25, at 30, at 50, many people do not care.
That's true.
Going back to this idea of like humanity, the people that you say are not feeling for another side or another group of people, a lot of people just want to live good, simple lives, and they just don't care until it shows up on their doorstep.
I agree.
And I think that's what's missing from the black and white idea of builder and destroyer. A lot of people are just in between, and they're just living. And if we want to, and we can bring people from destroyers to builders.
So you say that there's third group, which is the indifferent.
And I think the indifferent is the majority of the world.
Or the comfortable. So do you have to be a content creator and an opinion leader, an influencer to be a builder or a destroyer, or anyone can be?
No, I think you can be a builder or destroyer in your day-to-day life, in whatever job you have, in the one-to-one interactions that you have with people. I don't think you have to have any sort of microphone.
I agree with that. Some of the best builders in the world are software engineers. They're not content creators. If anything, maybe I'm a bit jaded, but I think most content creators are not builders. I think they're optimizing for the algorithm to be able to get ad revenue, to be able to afford rent. Okay, that's really what it is. And so how can I entertain as many people as possible and say what you want to hear so that I could pay rent?
And just on the idea of builders that we may never know their names, I think Martha
Oh my God, yeah.
is an example of a builder that most people will never know her name. And maybe you can share.
Tell us about
I
Martha.
love Martha.
Who is she?
So, Martha. So I was 17, and I was in a school that is 100% Arab in my village. Never seen an American before. And all of a sudden, an American woman, she's like 60, 50 years old, knocks on the door and walks in and says, I'm going to teach you guys English. I'm Jewish American, and I come to Israel every year to volunteer and teach English to Arab Israelis. He's like, why the hell are you doing that? And she came in, and I met her son, and we became pen pal buddies. And then through email, Martha says, why don't you come visit us in Ohio for one summer, for 1 month? And I said, yes, please, I want to go to America. I really was excited. That was my first time in America. And I land there, and she says, you look like you're not dumb. You may want to go to Harvard and see it because my son studies there. And I said, I'm never going to get into Harvard because I'm not smart. And then she says, just go. I'm going to buy you a flight ticket, $352. I remember the price. And go and stay with my son and then decide. I land at Harvard, and they're not geniuses. They're just like talking about their girlfriends, they're watching Jersey Shore. They're not different humans, they're not aliens. And that's when I saw it, I knew I could be it. And I went back home, bought the SAT books, I applied, I got into Harvard, and my life changed 180 degrees because of Martha.
Wow. A big applause for Martha.
And she's Jewish American.
And the story of someone who doesn't have like a big influence with millions of...
That's Tikun Olam.
That's Tikun Olam,
And she's
exactly.
continued doing it ever since then, right? Every single year. Every year.
And that talks very deeply about the responsibility that we as Jews have to just do right, because it's our mandate, because it's our tikkun, because it's Tikun Olam. And there's a very similar story of this guy I met at the Palestinian-Israeli dialogue program that I did, and he had the same story with a Jewish American teacher. He hated the Jews. He grew up in Palestine. He went to live in the
West
U.S.
Bank?
Yes, he went to live in the U.S. when he was little, and he had different Jewish teachers that kind of mistreated him and his other Arab friends. And then this one teacher, forgot her name, really changed his perception of the Jews. So it's a message for all of us to just be kind and to be human to everyone, including the people from Palestine.
And I think also, if for everyone here, if you think back on your life and you think, who might have been that builder for me? I just realized right now, who was that builder for me?
I was going to ask you, who's
You know
your
who it
Martha, but I didn't want to put you on the spot.
No, it's different. It's not the same. But I grew up, like I remember at my school, everyone was so racist to Muslim students because it was right after 9/11. And I remember I was always seeking out Muslim students and being their friend. And my parents, of course, were not racist, and they were like very wanted us to see the world. But I just realized I was delivered by an Iranian Muslim man. That was the doctor that brought me to the world. And him and his family became my family friends. And we would go to their house for dinner and for holidays and everything. And my parents introduced me to, a different religion and ethnicity through that. And so then I would go to school and I would be friends to the people that were pushed aside because people were racist towards them. And that, until this moment, I didn't realize that action was a building action in my life. And I bet everyone has that in some way.
Of course, and it's the same as we inviting non-Jews to our homes for Shabbat. It's the most beautiful kind of Hasbara and of building bridges.
Another word that became bad.
Hasbara?
Yeah.
What do you think about Hasbara?
It means explain in Hebrew.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
But why do you think it's bad?
Do I think explaining what Israel is bad? Absolutely not. I think Hasbara is awesome, and I think whoever made it bad is clearly politically motivated. And I think Israel sucks at Hasbara.
That's the truth. Any questions from the audience?
Oh, the audience. Okay, guys, do us a favor. Make the question hard and sensitive and short.
Carlos.
Hi, thank you for coming. Yesterday I was thinking that we know all the anti-Semitics, but there's not a word to call the anti-Palestinian, anti-Arabs. We don't have that word. So it has to be something there. How many people do you know that I'm an Islamophobic?
It's not a buzzword as it is anti-Semitic. It's not as popular in the media, right?
No. What I mean is, it's very interesting that we as Jews, we don't have so many people that all day talk about hate and those type of things because we never talk about it. It's, we want just to finish the wars and that's it. To make Tikun Olam like Deborah, and that's it. But words are very powerful. So what do you think? You work with words all the time.
I definitely think there's a word for hating Muslims, which is Islamophobe, xenophobe. I think I think that is coming back on the rise. Like for the last 3 years, anti-Semitism was cool. I suspect in the next 3 years, like Islamophobia will become cool. And you'll see it in Europe. And your dad says this all the time. Like Europe will become so extremely right-wing, and we're seeing it, that every refugee in Europe is going to have a hard time. So, generally speaking, I think, Jews and Muslims in Europe and the United States kind of take turns between being hated. Though, that being said, I do believe in the no Jews, no news. There's something about the Jewish story that is just such a great story that everybody's fascinated with it. I don't know why, but that's the curse of being Jewish. But it's also a blessing. The pressure of being Jewish from day one. And actually, I think about this for our future kids. Being part of the Jewish tribes is a blessing because they get all the benefits, the community, the chavruta, the Tikun Olam. There's so many benefits. But there is a curse of they're going to be called a Jew. If there is a World War III, they're the first to be targeted. And all of Israel will be targeted. So, I don't know, take it as you wish, but generally speaking, the Jewish people have done great with all this pressure that's been directed at them for the last 70 years. Nobel Prize and all this stuff. So, what do you think? I should stop talking.
I think that personally, I have seen some of Islamophobia even in our community. When we first started dating, I went to a Shabbat of a woman that was like in her 70s, and when she learned that we were dating, she threw me out of her home. It does exist for sure. I think amongst young people I've met, it's like much more accepting, but it definitely exists. And I think, as my dad said, it will continue to exist. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is we are part of the same coin. So in Europe, when we see the spike of Islamophobia, it also means that the Jew hatred is also spiking. And I believe that will always be consistent.
And speaking about the power of words and the power of storytelling, you two as amazing storytellers, what are your top 3 recommendations to connect emotionally through your stories?
I think you can never ever fake passion. So if you're passionate about something, if you have a burning story to tell and something to say, it will translate. And if you're not passionate, no one will buy it. And I think that's what I've learned about myself as a writer and a storyteller, and I think what I would say to anyone.
Yeah, one thing I learned about storytelling, why did Nas Daily succeed? That's really the question. Nas Daily succeeded because I speak like a 10-year-old. I speak slow and I speak simple words. You never see me speak like a Harvard academia person. And this is why it resonates with so many people. Because I try to get to the essence of what matters and nothing else. And remove all these words that are supposed to make you smart, but they just make everybody confused. So I speak like a 10-year-old. And you see it even in the design of Nas.io. I am trying to make Nas.io the simplest business platform in the world. Just take a picture and you can sell online. So whatever I learned from Nas Daily, I'm trying to apply to the technology product. And I think simplicity goes a long way.
Yes, and I think that that became your, for lack of a better word, like your shtick, right? And that's and it works. It's brilliant. But not everyone has to do that. I think, there are incredible creators that, 70 million people know like you. And then there are people like Lex Friedman, who I'm a huge fan of, who's so technical, who most people don't know. But that works as well. So I think find your voice and that way that you communicate, and then you'll succeed.
Actually, it's more than find your voice. It's find your customer. Lex Friedman's customer is the top 1%. So he speaks like them. My customer is the bottom 99%. I am not trying to reach the top 1% and talking like AI, inference costs and scaling laws. I'm trying to find the bottom 99% and speak to them. And that's why not many people down the street will know Lex Friedman, but they will know Nas Daily. Actually, I was at a cruise once to go into Antarctica, and then we had this joke. The higher you go in the cruise, like the penthouses where there's rich people that are very, very smart, nobody knows Nas Daily. The lower you go in the cruise, more and more people know Nas Daily because it's resonating, with the kitchen staff. It's resonating with the cleaning staff because you speak simple.
That's right. There were many people that we had to explain who Nas Daily was. Really?
The backhanded compliment.
I mean, we would
They must be
assume
really
that everybody
smart.
knew, but not everybody, because it's like the cruise. How can we viralize and make it massive, the concept of Tikun Olam through storytelling?
What he said in the beginning was so interesting because he said people have a hard time separating anti-Semitism from Israel from Judaism. They view Israel as a representation of Judaism and Judaism as a representation of Israel. And that is, of course, you cannot do that. One is a political entity, a government that changes every 4 years, and another is a religion for thousands of years. And so the problem is, people are now, and this is bad, people are looking at Tikun Olam as ironic in a way, and I see it in the comment section because they look at the media and the war and the destruction. And so, number one, I think we gotta separate religion from a political entity, a government coalition. That's very important. And number two is explain what Judaism is from a religious perspective with other religious figures.
I disagree.
Thank you, sweetie.
I think there is no hope when it comes to being able to convince the world what Zionism really means and what Tikkun Olam really means. I think that ship has sailed. And so I think we just go forward and you actually create things that are healing the world and making the world better, and you just ignore everyone else. Because I think the reason Israel is such a success is because it builds the kind of country it has to build, and it does what it has to do, and it just ignores all the hate. I think we will never convince the rest of the world. And what someone said at the beginning about how do we fight or conquer anti-Semitism, I do not believe that we will ever conquer anti-Semitism. I think it's just about how can we become a stronger peoplehood.
It's walking the walk.
Hey, but that's a depressing thing she said. Why are we clapping? This was depressing. We will never conquer anti-Semitism. For the next future, we are destined to be hated.
It's realistic. It's depressing, but it's a reality, and it's just keep on going and don't get so focused on something that you cannot change.
You love statistics.
Yeah.
Statistically, there's never been a period where we really were able to conquer anti-Semitism. There's this brief period in America where we're on this holiday from it for a little bit, and now it's back. We will never ever do it. So it's just about how we can stay strong as a peoplehood and not become fragmented.
No, I'm not saying become fragmented and be weaker as a people, but I'm saying there is a world, there is a scenario in which Jews and Muslims and Christians unite. And unfortunately, that scenario may be World War III against China, but we don't talk about it.
In pockets, yes, but I don't believe in mass, but in pockets.
I think we have time for 2 questions, and then you guys want to do photos and videos with the audience.
Yeah, she wants to make a video with the Jews in Mexico. If you guys want to be in the video, it'll be fun. It'll take 5 minutes.
Hi, you're building a company, and at the same time, you're spreading a pro-Israel message. And you currently, like as a content creator, have a big responsibility because of the reach you have. And it could get the time, and it's happening, that being pro-Israel can be against your business. What's the point, and what are you willing to risk, because you also love your business and you love humanity, but you want to do both. And nowadays, it can get you into a point that speaking pro-Israel could even cancel you. But someone has to do it because someone has to speak the truth and stand for the truth even if the world is going crazy. And we need some brave content creators to be willing to even risk everything. So what's your stand on that, and what are you willing to risk? It's difficult, I know, because you're in a big responsibility position that we're not. And what are you thinking?
Wow, that's a great question. Listening to it made me sad because it's true. Actually, over the last 3 years, I don't like to talk about it too much lately, but like I've lost a couple of $1 million. I've had a huge office in Dubai, hired a lot of people there. After October 7th, it became much more difficult to hire, to build, to grow, not because of the UAE, but because of all the countries around the UAE. And I found myself having to hire security guards. I don't go to places where my location is live. I try not to make it live. So it has affected me a lot. When I started Nas Daily making those 1-minute videos, I didn't imagine I would be hiring security guards in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan. So that I do not enjoy the situation I find myself in. But if I look at the last 34 years of my life, it has always worked when I took the path less traveled. When I took the path that I believed was the truth. And I've done this like 6 times. Well, I'm not going to go over 6 times, but every time I took a path less traveled and I followed my guts and what I believed is the truth, eventually things worked out. And so I believe that I am not skating to where the puck is. I'm skating to where the puck is going. So we can look here, the puck is over there. Just say free Palestine and say Hamas is great and you're good to go. That's where the puck is. But where's the puck going? There will be no Iran. There will be no Hezbollah. There will be no Hamas. There will be, Jared Kushner taking over the situation. There will be UAE, Saudi Arabia, Israel, India alliance. And it will be cool to be Israeli. And so that's where the puck is going. And so I'm going to prime the world that this is where I am, this is where the world's heading, and I'll take the pressure now, and the benefit will come in 5 years.
Wow.
That gave us a lot of hope. Thank you.
And hope is the last thing that you lose. The last question, Ori.
Yes.
The Israeli guy.
Yes.
Woo!
Okay, so
Not Sepo.
אני מטייל. I'm traveling for about 6 months now.
Is this after the army?
It is. And I was traveling all over the states of Mexico, mostly in the south. And it's not the best thing to say right now that you're from Israel, obviously. It gets a lot of responses. I have no shame to say it, but there's a lot of ignorance right now. So as a content creator from all over this area, you both, what's your suggestion to deal with ignorance among the situations, especially as, I don't know, post-graduated, really highly educated universities like Harvard and Yale, and a lot of responses that came through it.
So something that Nuseir does, whether or not I like it, is if we are in a Uber with a Yemeni driver, or if we are in, I don't know, Saudi Arabia, in a taxi, oh my God, I forgot about that. He says, hey guys, I'm from Israel. They don't even ask him, he just goes, I'm from Israel. To which the taxi driver in Saudi Arabia said, get out of my cab. But
It happened once.
no, but then you talk to them, and at the end, you're able to kind of change their mind. I think part of this is because you speak Arabic, because you're Muslim, but he's unbelievably bold in that way, and it has emboldened me as an American Jew to be bold in my own way as well. But I also think that be smart. Like, I think, be bold and don't hide your identity, and also don't risk your life.
So I'm in a DJAF mode. You know what that means? DJAF. Don't give AF. Yeah. I'm in that kind of mode in my life, in which nothing pleases me more than to see somebody so ignorant to the world, who refuses to read about any other religion, who refuses to travel the world, who refuses to have an open mind. I am not going to close my mind to please him. He must be forced to open his mind.
But in terms of building the bridges, though.
But that is exactly what it is. If I go to people and say, I'm from Greece, that continues the destruction, that continues the ignorance. I think when you meet somebody in real life, you humanize them. You are the best marketing Hasbara for the Jewish world. And so you're a representation. So actually, when I do my actions globally and on content, and when I live and when I travel, I represent what it's like to be Palestinian, Muslim, Israeli, in a relationship with Asia, content creator. So I think it's your responsibility, one, to have great actions in the world, and no one will see an Israeli who's nice to them and say, well, I don't want to be your friend because you're Israeli, even though you're nice to me. So I think it's an imperative for you to say you're from Israel, and it's imperative that you humanize the concept of an Israeli. You do not have horns. You're not there to kill them. You're just there to drink beer, chase girls, and backpack after the army. That's what you're there for. And that's fine. That is very human, So to everybody here, I advise you to go and say you're from Israel if you are. But one thing I don't do, I don't wear insignia. I don't have like a cross or a Sir David. I don't have a T-shirt that says I am from Israel. I don't try to passively communicate my identity. I always explicitly communicate it with my words, not with what I'm wearing. So maybe that's one difference.
No, but I think that I believe in picking your battles. I think that if you're talking to someone who just has this like violent hatred for Jews in Israel, and you can like sense it, you're never going to change them. So why put yourself into that conflict? But I believe that like the 70% of people that are indifferent, that you can change, focus that effort there. And there will still be very hard conversations and uncomfortable, but I don't believe in trying to change the most extreme people because I think it's a lost cause personally.
Yeah, but he's not meaning the most extreme people. He's meaning other backpackers from France.
It depends.
It depends. I said it depends.
It depends.
You're meaning the most extreme people traveling Mexico?
A Syrian girl almost punched me in Puerto Rico because I said that I'm from
that's
Israel.
not worth it. Like,
Yeah, I mean...
She's from Syria or she's from Germany and says she's from Syria?
No, she's from Syria. I mean, it depends.
How did she travel there? What passport?
I didn't check her identity. But yeah, it really depends, I think. I mean, she got a point there.
thank you.
No, I don't believe in this, guys.
I'm
No.
not picking battles.
Well, I believe in picking battles. You don't see me in Pakistan trying to make them love Israel. Like, I'm not going to pick that battle. But I think Mexico is the battle you should pick. I think Syria is the battle you should pick.
Yesterday we were walking in the park and there was a man with a keffiyeh. And we had a conversation. Should we go up to him and talk to him? I was like, I don't think this is the battle to pick. Like he's showing you, he's wearing the...
And I said, let's go talk to him. That is really exciting.
And then he decided not to.
Yeah, because you walked me out of it.
No, but I think that's not the battle to pick.
I would say, go into battle. They say business is war, but peace is war. Peace doesn't
It's
have...
business.
Peace is business. The business of peace is very profitable. But peace is not popular. There's a whole idea, kumbaya, let's all be friends. That's not popular. Peace is supposed to be hard. That's why we don't have it. So I'm maybe because I'm Israeli, you're also Israeli, so maybe because of my background, I'm very attracted to problems. Well, you're not a problem. But I mean, in geopolitically speaking.
You use the word chutzpah.
Yes.
Okay, so be bold, be proud, choose your battles, take care of yourself, and we can do one more question.
Yeah, choose your battles. I just want to tell everybody, this is how I choose my battles. When I see a Syrian person, they can be converted. When I see a Lebanese person, they can be converted. When I see a Saudi person, they can be converted. When I see an Emirati, they can be converted. When I see an Egyptian, I give up. So Linda, I pick my battles, but I pick the countries I want to convert. And so if we build that alliance that we're seeing happening right now, I think we'll all be stronger together. So yes, if I see a Syrian person, I'm super excited to tell them I'm from Israel.
But you know that nuance between the
The country, yeah. So the battles is the country, but every Syrian must.
Well, currently we have, normal peace with Egypt and not with Syria. So.
Yeah, that's not peace, but we're going to talk about Egypt.
So one last question.
If you were the Israeli media agency, how would you do it? The state of it.
So, number one, very few Israelis speak Arabic. I would make it mandatory to speak Arabic. It's like being in Mexico and not speaking Spanish. Israel is in a sea of Arabic, an ocean of Arabs. Actually, a lot of Jews are Arabs. Raise your hand if you're Jewish Arabic. Oh my God, that's a lot.
Do any of you speak Arabic?
Yeah. But you're Syrian origin, right? Okay, but that's what I'm saying is mandatory for every person in Israel to speak Arabic, not French. And so that's number one. Number two is I would stop trying to appease to the Europeans and I would try to build media in the Middle East. And so I would try to build a competitor to Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is the most genius invention in the world, and it's negative. Al Jazeera is the single reason why most people hate Jews in the Middle East. If you ever want an enemy, it is Al Jazeera. Because in English it says, let's remember the Holocaust. In Arabic, they say, did the Holocaust happen? And so the content that's being promoted in the Middle East is so anti-Jewish, it makes you want to kill every Jewish person you meet. And so I think that is the source of the problem. I would fund $100 million into an Al Jazeera competitor. I would try to get an Abu Dhabi money to fund it as well. And then I would hire hundreds of content creators to normalize the idea of a Jewish person and then an Israeli person. But Israel's not doing any of that. Granted, they're busy at war, but I think after war, we gotta all collectively think about this.
That's a great plan. Thank you so much.
I came all the way to show you the Jews of Mexico.
Thank you, everybody.
Los que estén todavía por aquí vamos a tomar nuestro selfie. Sí, pero un momentito.
Ya después cambió el tema y ya no sé. Mucho tiempo.